Guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm bringing to you my favorite books of 2016. This is honestly one of my favorite videos to make. I love rehashing the books that I loved the year prior. Unfortunately, I did not like most of the books I read in 2016, so I only have 3 to discuss with you guys, and they'll come as no surprise because I've talked about them so many times on my channel. I thought I'd kick it old school and wear my cat ear headbands for all these end of the year videos, you know, just bring back the memes of when I used to wear these cat ears all the time. I feel like I kind of look like an Ariana Grande weird stan right now, but that's fine. So the first book I want to share with you guys is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This was actually one of the first books I read in 2016 and I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you for some reason have never heard of The Raven Cycle, The Raven Boys is the first book in that series and it centers around this girl named Blue who is from a family of psychics. She has been told her whole life that if she kisses her true love, that her true love will die. So of course Blue comes across a group of boys called the Raven Boys from a neighboring private school, and she befriends them, and one of the boys, Gansey, is really obsessed with this idea of finding this really old Welsh king through the use of ley lines. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's pretty much the general gist of the story. It is honestly one of the most intoxicating books that I've ever read. It's such an atmospheric read. The plot was just really unique. It's really hard to compare it to anything else I've ever read. To me, it was one of the most unique YA books that I've ever read because it didn't really recycle any tropes or any plot lines because it was just so its own. I actually didn't end up reading any more of the books in the series after the first one, but I really want to finish this series in 2017 because it was just so good and written so well, and so many people love this series, and I have a feeling that I'm going to as well. The next book I want to share with you guys will be no surprise, but that is Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. Lair of Dreams is the sequel to The Diviners, which was my favorite book of 2015. It's told from multiple perspectives. One of the characters, Evie, is from the Midwest and she gets in trouble with her parents, so she's sent to live in New York City with her uncle who owns a paranormal museum. In the first book, there is kind of a murder mystery going on and paranormal things happen, and a lot of the characters have different powers, and so the second book just kind of delves deeper into the mystery and the deeper layers. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 4-book series, and the plot just has so many layers that I'm kind of excited to see how it happens. I didn't like Lair of Dreams as much as The Diviners. I still thoroughly enjoyed it and gave it 5 stars because I just love the writing style. I love the 1920s setting. I love all the characters. I think they're so unique and there's a lot of diversity, and I feel like Libba Bray does a really good job of representing the different types of people. Like one character, her name is Ling, and she is from Chinatown and she is half Irish and half Chinese, and so she deals with a lot of persecution, and she also has a disability and she can't walk. And then there's Memphis, who is an African-American guy from Harlem and he's trying to be a poet, and then there's a girl named Theta who is a flapper, and it's just really interesting in my opinion, and I really loved it, and I love this series so much, and I can't wait for the next book. I feel like it's gonna be a long time before it comes out because it's just so complicated, and when I saw Libba Bray at YALLFest, we talked about it and she made it sound like it's gonna be a minute, so that's kind of sad. But I absolutely love the series and I highly recommend listening to it on audio. I don't know the names of most narrators for audiobooks, but let me tell you, January Lavoie narrates this series and she is so talented. Like, I don't even know how she does it. Maybe she's possessed by demons because she is able to voice each character so uniquely, whether they are male or female or whatever. Like, she just makes everybody sound so unique, and she gives everybody like a 1920s accent, and she just completely brings the book to life. So I highly recommend listening to them on audio if you have not gotten around to reading them. And the last book on my list is probably one of my favorite books of all time. I've talked about it so many times on my channel. You're not going to be surprised. You can probably say it with me. Night Film by Marisha Pessl. It centers around this guy named Scott who is an investigative journalist, and at the very beginning of the novel, a girl named Ashley Cordova commits suicide. Scott does not believe it's a suicide, so he decides to investigate. And essentially, Ashley is the daughter of this really enigmatic film director who is kind of shrouded in mystery. Like, no one has seen him for like 20 years, and he releases these like red band underground horror movies that are like really grotesque and horrifying, and Scott kind of has a history with Cordova, and so that's why he doesn't think that the daughter's death was a suicide, so he kind of like pursues the mystery. And it's really cool because it's told in mixed media, so there's narrative, but then there's also like Wikipedia articles and message boards and photos, and it kind of just like adds to the reading experience as Scott unravels the mystery. And honestly, the last 100 pages of this book are just one of those like what the fuck moments where you're like, what is actually happening? This whole book just made me feel like I was reading underwater because like I couldn't figure out the mystery, and I'm usually really good at guessing plots, but I just like couldn't guess anything about this book. I actually have a video called Why You Should Read Nightfall, and I'll link that down below in case you want to watch it and see all the reasons why you should read this book. But it's honestly one of the most beautifully written books that I've ever read, and I love it so much, and Marisha Pessl is a goddess. But yeah, those are the only books I have to share with you guys because like I said, every other book I read in 2016 was just kind of like not that good. Let me know down below what your favorite books in 2016 were because I'd love, love, love some recommendations for 2017. Thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.